Hey, what's up?
Hi, how are you?
I'm good. What's going on, girl?
I just came out of physio, so I'm feeling good with the body and making sure that all the little parts are being taken care of and nurtured.
I hear you. I hear you.
Welcome to the Liftoneself podcast, Merrick. I am so thankful you're here with me.
My pleasure. As you know, I wish I could have did it sooner, but it slipped my mind. But I got a million things on the go. But the gentle reminder, I'm like, oh shoot, let's do Monday. So here I am, girl.
Thank you. I appreciate you accepting this invitation.
Yeah, no worries, no worries.
And I appreciate, the impact that you are doing your due diligence of still showing up in this community.
Well, I try.
You are, no, you're not, you're doing more than trying. You are, with all the hurdles, all the things that have come up. And I want to thank you and I want to show my appreciation for that, because sports is such a big impact on mental well-being, and especially for kids trying to understand their energy, socializing, having a better understanding of themselves, and you still providing a business because things need to get paid, bills,
Yes,
lights have to still stay on,
absolutely.
and still showing up for that continuously through all that we've gone through. I want to really say thank you for that, Merrick.
Oh, no worries. It's my pleasure. I mean, I don't I I don't know. I couldn't live any other way. Um, it's I guess it's not a part of everyone, but the people who community is a part of, it's just they just are happier people. I don't know. I just find they're happier people. They're more satisfied people. They're more well-rounded people than people who kind of stay to themselves and work for themselves and do things for themselves and have a tiny little circle that they do and that they work with people, just small groups, but they're not opening themselves up because a lot of people are scared of that, right? They just don't want to be exposed. Their dirty laundry might get exposed. And I'm like, what the hell ever, man. Let's just make the community better any way we can.
Yeah, and we all have dirty laundry. Unfortunately, some people think, no, I don't. It's like we all have it. We're human. Being human
Yes.
is messy. Like,
Yes.
just how it is.
Yep, that's how it is, man. So we just try to do my little part, man. That's it.
And it's a big part. So I just want
Yeah.
to give your flowers while you're here and really give the encouragement and the fuel to continue on that. You know what? It is acknowledged and it is greatly appreciated and it is well needed
No, thank you. Thank you.
in there.
Thank you. Thank you.
And I want to really bring the dialogue of vulnerability and sensitivity for men, that we have to normalize this and have spaces where men can talk about this, because, suicide, aggression, violence is prevalent when men aren't able to be in contact with that sensitivity and vulnerability, and they think it's a taboo. And I think that is a dialogue that I want to bring forth to erase those stigmas, so that men feel safe to gather and create their own safe environments, because it's not for everybody that to hear your story or for you to share your story, and not everybody's gonna be able to relate to men also. So I thank you for having this conversation with me.
No worries. No worries. No, I think it's huge. And it's I mean, on the low, I'm doing something similar. Just trying to get people to tell their stories, in a controlled setting, and you take what take the good parts of what they say, and then you kind of put it all together with snippets and whatever and commentary, and to tell a story, that people need to hear, that sometimes get lost in the everyday life and lost in translation, sometimes lost because people are trying to consume all kinds of information, and then the message just gets lost and it gets clouded and gets blurry, and then all of a sudden there's no message. And then you get to you need people like yourselves trying to, hey man, don't forget about this, it's okay to be that. It's just to normalize things, because people aren't having conversations anymore. They're either talking at people or they're not talking at all. They're not listening and sharing. And I find, we have all these social platforms to do good, but people just want to take selfies all day and promote themselves when they're the ones that need more help. You're promoting, if you're posting all these self images and you're not happy with yourself, it's kind of counterproductive. You know what I mean? Like, you're just masking things. So I think when get an opportunity to share and find out what makes people tick, you can really help a lot of people because they may not have the platform. So I'm doing something similar on the low, but this is good. It's like my wife said, "Where are you going?" I'm like, "Do an interview." "Who do you got today?" I'm like, no, someone's got me. So it was good. So she's like, "Oh, okay." So it was good. So this is what I do every day. Like pretty much every day I am interviewing someone. So, but nothing's out yet. So
Is it a project that you're developing so that it will be, a grand opening? And okay, good.
Yes. So I'll keep
Okay.
you posted offline. I'll keep you posted.
Okay, great. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
And I appreciate you offering this to the listeners for something to look forward to see that, a lot of times there's silence and people think nothing's happening, but in silence, there's a lot of things happening. Not everybody has to publicize it. And they understand the long term of things. So thank you for giving a sneak peek to the listeners that they have something to look forward to.
Yes,
and I'm sure your son is involved in this with his video skills. So I really appreciate how you have brought that family together, and really serving the higher intention and using everybody's skills in different ways and, bringing that community.
No, it's been good. Like he's been my advisor. He's been one of my social media and media advisors. So it's been good because even he's like, "Oh man, that's big, Dad." I'm like, "Okay, thanks, man." If it's impressing the younger generation, it's good. So,
and it's needed. It's needed.
Yeah.
Let's take a breath together. How's your heart doing?
My heart is full. My heart is full. I can honestly say my heart it's busting at the if there was a seam on the heart, it'll be busting at it. It's so full of joy. It's so full of happiness. It's so full of hope. I don't know if you've ever got that response from people, but my life is full, and my heart is full of gratitude and happiness, and I'm just filled with I'm just filled. I'm overflowing. And that's why I'm able to do certain things, because I'm like, I gotta share some of this joy, man. Like, what? I can't hoard this for myself. That'd be selfish, right? So if my heart is full, my life is fulfilled, I don't really need to prove anything. I have some plaques on the wall, but that's not all who I am. That's just a snippet. But there's a couple of awards up there, but they're all, and I have a case full of trophies that I've just discarded. I don't need to see trophies, and people don't need to see trophies. They need to see those community ones. So that's why I've posted them in my wall. So when they come into my office, they're like, "Oh, cool, United Way. Oh, Global Community Alliance. Oh, Black History Ottawa. Oh," they're like, "Oh, you do work." I'm like, "Yeah, I'm not just this dude that does basketball." Like, and basketball fulfilled my life and has got me, made me travel around the world. But it's the community stuff that I put in all my bios. Like, I don't have to put in scoring champ. I don't put those things in. Like, those are small things that small minds will be attracted to, but the bigger minds are more concerned about what can you do for the community you live in. And those are the ones I like to post and, that's what's filled my heart. Obviously my family's filling my heart, and no family's perfect, as we all know, but it's given me enough fulfillment to say, you know what, go spread some joy, and that's what I do every day, either in my gym or at the academy, or online, is just try to spread that joy, man. Just so my heart, as if you ask, is full, and hopefully it's beating right and it's technically sound, but in terms of emotional, it's full.
What can you thank COVID for?
I thank COVID for um giving people and myself perspective on what's important. I've always known what's important is family and spending time. COVID has forced that on people. And for those that didn't really focus on family and time, COVID hit them hard, aside from financially. It hit everyone financially hard. Some people, not everyone, some people never skipped a beat. They're this transition to online for their work, and their check didn't change. But for people like me, it obviously hit me hard. It had to close down. It hit my wife hard, having to close down. But I think I can thank COVID for allowing people to see what's important, and which is health and wellness, and and family and support. All the things you kind of like, I'll get to I'll get to it when I need to get to it, or I'll visit my mom when I can, or I'll visit my in-laws when I can. And then you can't ever, like, for months on end, and with no timetable. Then you like, holy crap, man, I shoulda, woulda, coulda. And now everything's, transitioned to Zoom or meetings or Google Meet or FaceTime, and those things are always available, but now they became so ingrained in your everyday life. People are like, oh man, I wish I could just touch and hug and kiss, and I think that's what COVID exposed, how vulnerable we are as people, and how little we value human interaction in general. And so I'm thankful for COVID for exposing that. And even myself, who I think I have a pretty fulfilling life, I was like, I couldn't hug my mom for over 2 years, and she's only in Toronto, so 4 hours away, and I couldn't get to her. And it was just amazing where I finally, mid-October, I was able to hug my mom for the first time. And that's crazy, because there's people, they don't have a relationship with their mom, or they got, or their dad, or whatever, or whomever. And nothing was physically wrong, the barrier in pre-COVID, but it was just like, I don't know, I don't need to hear it now, or I don't want to hear her lecture me or whatever. And you avoid them. And now you actually can't even see them. So I think COVID allowed people to see what's true, what's valuable in life, and it just stripped everything away. And I was grateful for that exposure, because even, my wife has a different schedule than I, and we have one day off together. And there's a point where we were both unemployed and waking up, looking at each other and like, okay, we'll watch Netflix now, and so we watch every movie on Netflix, every movie on Prime, every movie on Disney, and then you're like, okay, let's go for a walk. And then you just go for a walk. So obviously monotonous, and it gets boring after a while. It gets, repetitive after a while, but I appreciate the time I'm able to spend with my significant other,
Yeah.
And I like her, right? So imagine if I didn't like her. So expose the vulnerability of relationships. And there was lots of divorces, lots of separations, a lot of different things, because you're tired of that person, because you're not used to seeing them that often. So it actually exposed a lot of vulnerability, either positive or negative. So
Yeah. How do you support your mental well-being?
I really support my well-being by being able to unplug a little bit. on a regular basis. Like, so it's like, I don't actively meditate anymore. I used to do it when I was playing because I need to clear my mind to have a good game. But there's a point where I stopped doing that even when I was playing. When I started playing overseas, it was just so easy for me to clear my mind. I didn't have to take 15 minutes or 10 minutes to go through my breathing exercises. But now I'm able to just like think about being calm, and I get calm, or catch myself and my heart starts to beat a little bit because I'm frustrated or I want to lash out or something. It's just like, Merrick, be calm. And I can listen to that voice, respect that voice, because it's coming from a place of experience, not just like, I've done that. I've relaxed before in weird situations and tough situations. So I'm able to unplug, to be calm. And I use the analogy always is just like if you're running through the forest and you're trying to count the trees or seeing what type of trees they are, it's really difficult because you're running. And the only way to identify and and analyze is to slow down. You have to start walking through the forest or just kind of just strolling, you know, so you can see, oh, that's a birch, that's a maple, that's a pine, that's a pine tree, that's an evergreen. You can now see the difference and enjoy the beauty of it. But if you're just running really fast to get to a destination, you're missing so much. So I always try to slow down and unplug, even after hectic days where I'm finishing at 9:30 p.m. And I started at 7:50 in the morning for morning practice, and I go home, eat, come back here, train, do paperwork, jump on the court, go back home, have a quick meeting with the coaches, like, and then I'm able to just unplug after that and just like, boom, just decompress every night. So I think I can see more. I'm way more creative when I have a good night's sleep. I'm way more attentive and aware after that decompression. That I always use the analogy of, a second analogy is a release valve, like that steam kettle. That's like, imagine if there was no hole break. That steam is just gonna go boom, and it'll actually break that hole, that metal container. It's that strong. So there has to be a hole, there has to be a release valve, there has to be somewhere where the steam can come off or the pressure can be released. Some people use drugs, some people use, obsessive compulsive behavior. They use all different mechanisms as their release valve. And I always try to find a healthy release valve that, the steam doesn't burn your significant other. You know what I mean? It's out there. It's not toxic. It's just steam, right? But when people don't have the ability to blow it off or unplug or slow down, you'll see road rage. You'll see people just flying off the handle for nothing, just absolutely nothing. And you're like, what's wrong with you, right? Like, why are you so mad? Nothing really happened. But that's just a neutral eye looking at it. But for them, they're in that state that they have to lash out at someone or something, or punch walls. Like, those aren't release valves. Those are just reactions, impulsive reactions that are detrimental long term, because you have to keep having these impulses. It's and it's not being released in a healthy manner. Those just keep on building until it comes out, and you're going to do something really bad and either lose a significant other, a long-term relationship, end up hitting something or doing something to someone that cause you, to be arrested. It doesn't matter. It's going to come out some way if you don't have a healthy outlet. So I pride myself on slowing down, looking at the trees, releasing that steam, so I can have a heart full of joy and laughter and energy, where people want to be around you. And because if you don't have healthy release valves, no one wants to be that punching bag. They're just gonna leave, right? They're gonna find somewhere else to be. But if you provide a sort of energy for people, you make the room better when you're in it. I think that's a clear sign that that your heart is full, and you are able, you're in tune with your mental health. And I think that's, I pay attention to that type of stuff, and I avoid people who, use you as an outlet for their frustration, either gossiping to you, or, lashing out at you personally. I just avoid those situations, and I don't, and anyone who's on my team or around me or works for me, they cannot have that energy. And if they have it, they won't be around me for a while, for a long time, or at all, because I can't deal with that negative energy, because I know what type of energy is positive energy.
How do you navigate through anger for yourself?
I think it's just almost a similar fashion, being able to step back. And
let me ask you, does Merrick ever get angry?
Yes, absolutely. I have a staff here that says, man, boss, come on, boss. I don't want to see you mad, man. Man, I don't want to get you mad, man. Like I'm like, yeah, but I'm mad. I'm mad, but is it justified? Is it just random anger? Or I walk in the building angry. Like, if you know my source of anger and you had something to do with that anger, you can't criticize my anger, right? You know where it's coming from. It's predictable, because people need to understand where anger or where joy is coming from. So not only anger, if your emotions are predictable, people accept it better. When it's just like, I walk in the gym and I'm, what the F, man? Like, why is this there? Why? Okay, what's happened in his life that's now I'm the release valve, right? So they know I'm like this all the time. And if I'm like this, something in that environment has triggered that. And how do I deal with that is the same way I deal with that stress. Like, things are boiling, the heat's rising, and there's water bubbling, and there's got to be a release valve. So I usually step back, and if you're on the bottom of the mountain and you're angry and you look up, it's so far to the top, you just get more frustrated. But if you picture yourself on the top of the mountain and you're looking down, you're like, you know what? I can see so far. I can see the horizon. I can see the sun. I can see the other mountain tops. You have perspective. And you see that the problem, or the source of the problem, or the source of your anger is really, really small. And if, you kind of have to step away to see the problem, because when you're in the problem, it seems like it's all encompassing, right? It's like, there's no way out of this. Okay, so mentally, maybe, let's say you're in a dilapidated house and it's leaking and your bills are piling up. It's really hard to like think, because there's water leaking on you. But if there's a way you can just, okay, I hear the water dripping. Let me just see if I can mentally unplug and start dealing with these issues. Okay, I got to call the plumber. I got to, and tackle them strategically and maybe in small increments. Whether it's, oh my God, oh my gosh, I'm just going to freeze. And then you stay in that same mental zone, physical zone, and you can't get out of it. So if you can remove yourself to the top of the mountain so you can see more and see that, okay, it was just a small little molehill, but it's not actually a mountain. It's not a big thing. So I've been around people who see something really, really small in my eyes and make it into the next world war, right? You're like, wow, it's not that serious. Just, I don't know, just, I don't know. It's easy for me to say, just do this, right? But I think a lot of people just get so engulfed in their own problem that they can't see a way out of it. But I think if you remove yourself for a split second or for physically or mentally, you can see the problem easier.
Yeah. Thank you for that. The reason why I had you on here also is to open up the dialogue for men to talk about sensitivity and vulnerability. Mm-hmm. And from a perspective of a male, what do you think creates the defense mechanisms, or why there isn't any spaces for men to have these dialogues and to better understand themselves?
I think it just really goes back to the male caricature, like the what is the prototypical male? Strong, muscular, dominant, like just manly. All those things are the archetype of, okay, this is what a man is. Now, I think over, like, for many, many years, that's been the role, right? That's just, if you draw a man and the kid draws a man, draws a hat, draws a mustache, draws, like, that's how kids see men. And the men is like, yeah, that's how I should be. I should be strong. I shouldn't cry ever. I shouldn't be vulnerable ever. I got to be strong. I got to be a protector, all that stuff. That's archaic, in my opinion. It's really archaic. And it prevents people from becoming introspective because they're trying to live a persona, and they're trying to maintain this persona, this macho persona, that I can't put off that I'm weak or I'm vulnerable. I can't. Like if I have like 5 man stripes, if I cry, I lose one. If I open up, I lose another one. If I ask for help, I lose another one. If I can't pay a bill and I need support, I lose another one. So it's like men are just trying to protect their stripes for like with their lives, right? I'd rather die than lose a stripe, than say to someone that I'm hurting inside. Or so I think it's more of the persona of, I don't want to lose, I don't want to become vulnerable because I don't want to cry on camera. I don't want to, show my emotions because their fear they're going to lose man stripes, and I think it boils down to that. And that's all cultural. There's certain cultures that are more, open to that. And there's, I've lived in South Africa, and everyone, they got like man stripes here in their pockets, where the sun doesn't shine, they got all these man stripes, right? And they'll lower their voice when they talk to each other. Hey, yo, what's up? I'm like, where does that come from? Because I noticed that, Zulu men have this, when they talk to each other, they deepen their voices. And I did some research. I'm like, where does that come from? He said, from the Shaka Zulu at times, where, Shaka Zulu was a short guy, and he'd kill all the tall guys in the tribe because he wanted to make sure that he's, he looks big and strong. And that was the folk theory. But it's a very macho culture, and that's what I found. And I'm like, yo, what's up, man? With my high voice. And I'm like, yeah, man, like, clean shaven. They're like, oh man, you too pretty, Merrick. I mean, pretty. You see what I do on the court? Come on, man. You're like, man, but you gotta be tough. I'm like, tough, man. y'all soft, man. They're not really tough. I guess you guys are soft, you know. And they would laugh at me. I'm like, and so because they know I know they're soft. So you don't have to be macho and muscular and deep voice to be masculine. You know, what is masculinity? Like, what is it? It's just something that someone determined, right? It has nothing to do with gender even. You know, what is masculinity? It's just, for me, masculinity is a joke. You know, what I used to, when I was in high school, this is a quick story. I used to have these pink pants, these pink Roots track pants, and a pink top. So I had a pink tracksuit. Uh, I think it was Beaver Canoe bottom and top, pink, hot pink, and walked to school and my Nikes, everything. And they're like, "How you gonna wear pink, Merrick?" I'm like, "What is pink?" Oh, it's for girls. I guess I'm a girl. But they know I'm not a girl. But and they had a hard time with that. They had a hard time, and I was as confident I was, I am now than I was then, and I'm a rocket. I don't care. I'm wearing I have this pink tracksuit, and after a while, it's like that's just Merrick, right? They just accepted it that Merrick can break those rules because he's not worried about being labeled as gay or he doesn't care. And then I got an ear piercing, and I went home and I got my sister who lived on her own. I got my sister to ice my and pierce it, and I went home. My mom's like, what are you doing? Are you a girl? I'm like, it's Jamaican culture. I'm like, what are you talking about? I'm the same kid. So she couldn't stop that. She's like, oh my god, oh my god. So I went out and got the other one pierced too. So got both of them done. And then the school, my teammates, and like, 2 earrings, Merrick? Are you, man? Yeah, that's gay, dog. I'm like, I guess I'm gay. What the hell? Then after they saw how confident I was in that decision, half my teammate got double earrings. Everyone started getting 2 earrings. And then I started wearing tighter pants. Once I went overseas, I started modeling, I was doing the thing, and I started wearing tighter pants. And they're like, yo, what's up with these tight pants? Have you seen the culture nowadays, Nat?
Yeah.
It's all tight pants, skinny
Yeah.
jeans. But they were ridiculing me way back then in the 90s about these. So before this masculinity or, vulnerability came, I've been vulnerable. I've been non-masculine or pretty or whatever you want to call it. Things that they just weren't comfortable with from what they were told and taught as kids. This is what a man should look like. This is what the colors a man should wear. This is what men should have in their ears. This is what men should. What the hell, man? Like, whose rules are those? So I don't abide by those rules. I've never abided by those rules. To this day, I try to create my own sense of happiness. If this makes me happy, hey, man, it's up to you if you don't want to be happy about my happiness. It's up to you. I'm not going to base my happiness on external factors or people who are not, if my wife says, Mary, I don't know about that earring. But she met me with 2, so she ain't saying nothing, so it's just like the people who really matter, they, the people who care, they matter, and I just, I take that information, I take those criticisms or whatever from people who love me, for me, and not just from people who just see me on internet or whatever, or passerbys, or I don't care about that. So I'm always I've always been that person that didn't care about what people think about me. I wasn't that guy to take the earring out because my mom said. Even my mom, she couldn't stop me because she saw that I was happy. It made me feel good. Like, now I had to take them out. It's just too tiring. But to put them all in. But so I'm good.
I appreciate that. When the twins were starting kindergarten, they wanted to go to school with nail polish on. And so I was like, okay. And I saw the apprehension in me because I understood how
Yes.
society is going to and what the school. Yet I let them know, like, this is your decision. Just know, some people may say something and they're like, what's the problem? It's
Yeah.
painted nails. Like, it's not just a girl thing. And
Hmm.
so they've always been challenging the gender bias. And then when people go and say, oh, well, I just saw this, so I automatically thought you were a girl because you were wearing pink. And he's like, and they'll be like, why are you gender biased? Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
why? And even this summer, I allowed the curiosity with one of them. He wanted to put on one of my dresses and walk to the store with me, the corner
Hmm.
store. And I saw my own apprehension.
Yeah.
Yet for him, he's like, I'm just doing fashion. I want to put a dress on. What's the
Hmm.
problem? Like,
Hmm.
doesn't mean that I have to like boys, or I
Hmm.
just want to put this. And as a parent, and you understand how society is and how they
Yes.
can be with their things, I'm thankful that I'm navigating through my rough waters of fear and allowing them to do and dress the way that they can. I have one that really is, nobody's going to tell him how to dress, and the things that he puts on, like all of a sudden
Yeah.
he's wearing a house coat to go
Yeah.
here or that. And it's like, okay, yet we do have a lot of conditionings of how we're supposed to show up in certain places. And it's like, who said? Like,
Yes.
I'm not offending anybody and I'm not doing anything. And
Mhm.
it's for me. So why is it that you must tell me how I must maneuver into this world?
That's right.
And thank you for that confidence and, opening up a path, because like you said, in the Jamaican culture, ooh, that stuff,
There's
that's a
no,
big time. Oh
yeah,
my gosh.
it's
So you
taboo.
went through some rough waters
Yeah.
and some criticisms and some sus and people talking
Yeah.
or whatnot. And it's like, man, I'm still going to do me, because at the end of the day, it's me and me.
That's right.
So
And
thank you for that.
yeah, no, no worries. Like I think that's really huge, especially there was not as much, you know, obviously gender bias, all these things, cross-dress, all these things were there many, many, many years ago. Now it's in the forefront. So now everyone is like, their antennas are up, and they're looking to, because I think as humans, we understand categories. It's
Yeah.
easy for us to make categories. And so, because it makes sense in this nonsensical world where if I can make a box and I can put a bunch of people in that box, it makes me feel better about myself, you know, which is so weird, right? The more boxes I create, and whoever creates them, when I can get into that, it's like it makes them feel good because I can have order, and people don't like confusion. They
Chaos.
like,
Yeah.
especially people with OCD, they like order. And if, let's say, the media is OCD on creating order, you're gonna have these boxes. And society is, and the younger generation, they're like, the hell with boxes. Don't give me no box to check. Don't put me in no box. I'm gender neutral. I'm non-binary. I'm just human, right? So the world is trying to fight against the generation that is saying, you know what, the hell with boxes. And so that's where we are today. Is kids are lining up to become non-binary because they feel more free.
Mhm.
That so I think if we flip the script and we are now this generation, and we're dealing with our with the freedom that we have now, I think we'd all be non-binary or cross-dressing because
Fluid. Yeah.
yeah, fluid, gender, like all this stuff. Like I think I was gender fluid way back then. Like I don't
Yeah.
know. Like I think I was gender neutral way back then, but I just had the courage amongst all my peers to be different. To sit with my legs crossed. Like I remember a girl telling me, "Why do you sit like that?" I'm like, "What do you mean? Like your feet are crossed instead of like doing the L, what a man's supposed to do." The L hurts my hip, number one, right? And number two, I'm a skinny guy, so it doesn't take much for me to wrap the leg around the other leg. It's like you sit like a girl. I'm like, so only you can be comfortable? I can't be comfortable. And she was like, yeah, you can be comfortable. I'm like, okay, then leave me alone. If I'm comfortable, what's your concern? But again, she tried to put me in a box, right?
Yeah.
And so that's kind of like a microcosm of the world that we live in today, is people are trying to put everyone in boxes because it makes themselves feel better. And maybe, the government or whatever, it makes the government able to have order. You know what I mean? Everyone wants to
Categorize.
have, yeah, they want categories. So do you fit into this racial category? Do you fit into this sexual category? This gender category? Because it just gives them allows them to have stats and track things. But the new generation says, screw all of that.
Yeah, very much so. And I'm very thankful for the new generation with their disruption of we're going to change this narrative now and see humans for humans. Like what I'm hearing in your story is Merrick decided to be a human being. A human being.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Because I'm from a huge family. I'm the last of 7.
Ooh.
And my mom is the third of 14.
Ooh.
So, and this is mom and dad and 14 kids. This is not multiple families. This is mom and dad. And then same with mine, mom and dad, 7 of us. So I know what a family looks like. Not to say it's better than a non-traditional family. I'm just saying I know what love looks like. I know what family looks like. I know what respect looks like. I know. So they respected me for doing me. And I was the one who did me a lot. I'm like, but the baby of the family, yeah, he's just like kind of a little rebel, right? But
Well, the other ones wore down your parents, so you got
absolutely. So I was staying out late at night at 13, 12, 13. I was staying out to midnight, going to parties at 14, all night parties downtown Toronto, like, concert hall, coming home at 6 in the morning, because my brothers broke all that ice. I was just living my best life at 16, right? So, and I'm grateful for that. And I'm because my mom saw that I was also responsible. I wasn't getting arrested. I wasn't doing drugs. So I was my mom saw that and she gave me even more freedom, which is great.
Yeah. How can women support men?
That's a big question. I don't think there's one answer for that question. It would be here all night.
Well, let me refine it. How do you think women can support men with their well-being?
I think women, man.
Just take a moment just to, because it's a big, yet there's something, because I'm a female, like we're human beings, yet we're navigating through our energies. Because for me, every human being has male and female energy. There's no one has, like, we both have it.
Yeah.
Yet in our bodies, I think within society norms, women will complain about men being so and so, yet they won't take the acknowledgement. Well, are you even providing certain things for a man to open up? Mm-hmm. Or what are things that you can do to help serve?
Yeah, I think it's more, I don't think it's what can women do to support men. I think it's more, we all have to listen to each other and respect each other, because I don't care if it's 2 women talking to each other or trying to support each other, or 2 men talking to each other or trying to support each other. The dynamics is the same. You listen and you give space to understand the response or the outcry or whatever it is. I can use me and my wife as an example. We've been together for over 20 years. We've been married 21 years now. And obviously it's not a bed of roses. In a marriage, it's not a bed of roses. So I can imagine a friendship is just even less commitment, right? So I think, or just a common law, or just a girlfriend, boyfriend, or girlfriend, whatever it is. I think how people can help each other, support each other, regardless of race, regardless of sex.
Yeah.
I think it really boils down to that same humanness, right? Is, can I be human enough to say, hey man, this is how I'm feeling? And then the other person says, hey man, I understand what you're saying to me. Not, but I 100% understand. And because that is that person's reality. That's that person's reality. You can't extinguish someone's reality. You can't change their reality. Whether it's real or fake, that's their reality. Because so I have players who think they're better than they are. For me, they're delusional. But for them, they're dead ass serious. I am this good. But the stats don't lie, right? The results, the physical, empirical, measurable results don't lie. So if someone says, I'm a good worker, but they're always late, you can believe you're a good worker till the cows come home. But the stats show you keep showing up 10 minutes late. So in the criteria of being a good worker is being punctual. That person, punctuality is not on their radar for being a good worker. So I think when two people are supporting each other, they have to understand each other's realities. And you can't just push off someone else's I can, even though I know that player is delusional, I can't say, are you stupid? Like, are you delusional? Because they're like, no, I believe I'm better than X, or I believe I'm better than this, or I know I deserve more minutes because I'm good. That's the reality. But so coming to an understanding takes listening and takes time. A lot of people are like, in this Instagram world, this instant world, I need results right now. Like, you're going to physio, you're not going to see results tomorrow. You have to, over a period of time, you start to understand your limitations. You have to understand how your body's reacting to the physio, and so on and so forth. Then you say, okay, I'm functional now. I can go out and do things I was doing before. It's the same thing with a relationship and support. The support's not going to come instantly. It may not come instantly. So you have to kind of build that communication platform where we can share, and then we start to understand. So after 21 years with my wife, I think I have a good handle on the buttons not to push and the ones to push in order for us to understand each other. She knows all my buttons, but we understand each other, and she can support me. So if I come in with a wacky, crazy idea, she knows not to say, you're delusional, right? She's like, tell me more, and gives me the space to explain myself, and for her to say, you know what, I like that. If you added this, it'll even make it crazier. And I'm like, you know what? That's cool. But I had previous relationships where I say, I want to go play professional basketball. And the response was, really? Like, you don't want to go and do your master's? And I'm like, oh, damn. It's so unsupportive, right? It's so deflating, where I for the long, in short, I think you have to give each other the space and the time to understand each other and respect each other's realities, because they're coming from different places, because only you know what's real in your head. You don't know what's real in someone else's head. And that's the whole basis of psychology, right? It's like the counselor or the therapist has to say, hey, what are you thinking? Like, what's your train of thought? And then they got to go back to their history, what brought them to that reality, right? So I think in essence is, time, space, listening, is a whole multitude of things to say, how does one support someone else, or how does a man support a woman or vice versa. It boils down to listening, creating that space, and building that relationship over time. That would be my long answer to a short question.
I want to ask you, do you think people understand what process is?
I think I say yes and no, but again, a lot of people's process is, so I can use this for an example where if I'm training a kid, let's say he's 11, no, I say he's 12, it's a boy, and he is very good, very skilled. When he trains here, super skilled. You could tell he's skilled. He's learning how to shoot the ball, pass the ball, dribble the ball, finish the ball, everything. Then he plays in a game, and he's so scared. He doesn't want to do anything. He doesn't want to drive. He just wants to shoot. But his dad's like, drive it. Be aggressive. Go get it. And then they come to me and they say, man, he looks so good here. But then he gets in the game and he's like so scared. He's timid. So the running joke here at Capital Courts is we actually have a package for aggression. We can sell aggression. You can just pay more and we'll sell you the aggression package. And it just drink it and, you'll be good. Aggression doesn't happen like that. It takes time. It takes space. It takes confidence. It takes so much things, but the parent doesn't understand the process. So I think and they know it's supposed to take time, but we live in this instant world where we want I want my kid to be good right now. I don't have time for that process. I know it takes some time. Yeah. But he's still not aggressive, So one kid, I think he was 10 at the time. And he was good. And he's like, yeah, but I want to be more aggressive. I said, oh yeah, do you know you can order that on Amazon? You can order aggression on Amazon. He looked to his dad. He's like, Dad, can we order it? Dad was on the floor rolling around, right? Because the kid actually thought he can just order it because it's so important for him to be fulfilled as a basketball player. And I think when people don't understand the process of whatever it is, that means they just don't understand the time needed to invest and actually embrace that process. The process is what's more gratifying than the actual goal. And when I have kids in here that are addicted to the grind, it's over. Opportunities just start falling into their laps. And it seems the opportunities seem to avoid people who, who don't understand process. They want it now, and they'll start to do things and hire people to get that instant result because they don't understand the long, when kids come to me and say, I have a tryout in 2 weeks, can I get 13 sessions prior to that date, back to back every day, after taking the entire summer at the cottage, where kids have been coming all summer preparing for that September tryout. So it's just like, you went to school, you ever cram for a test? You retain this much because your brain is on this heightened level of, I need to remember this stuff. And you get into the test, and you're like, oh my God, it looks like Chinese. Like, I don't understand it, right? But when you studied for 3 weeks out, a little bit at a time, your brain can absorb the information and process the information rather than cramming. And that means my brain can't understand process. I don't understand process. And that retention and performance gets compromised.
Yeah. I'm going to bring you into a reflective question because I'm minding the time.
Yeah.
I'm going to ask you to go back to your 18-year-old self.
Mm-hmm.
and bring your awareness now to that 18-year-old, and you only have 3 words to say to the 18-year-old, what would those 3 words be?
Trust the process.
And it's I'm seeing more even for myself as a parent, and I'm like, seeing these ones, it's like, Nat, it's a process. I'm like, but it's not going fast enough yet. It's a process. And then things pop up and I'm like, how did that happen? And then I'll remember, it's like, remember 2 years of doing this? Now it's finally coming up. Yet it's like, oh my gosh.
Absolutely.
And I can see where a lot of people in their dialogues, they won't understand what process is, it is a fault of seeing social media and everything coming in a modern world that process doesn't exist anymore.
No.
It's like everything was done for me already. So like the other day when we went to Sudbury, the boys were like, so wait, they blasted through the mountains to make these roads? I'm like, yeah, like really? And they were really, sitting in recognizing like all the rocks, and I was like, good, like thankfully you understand that there was a process there before you that you get to use, but you weren't in that yet. You have to understand processes always exist and they're always there.
Yeah, I'm 10 years in to this gym. Like I've been here 10 years and I've always understood process. even even as an 18-year-old, I understood process, but you don't really see it from the top of the mountain. You see it when you're in the you're in the trenches and you got to work hard to get certain things. You want them fast, but I never stopped working. So the opportunities started to come. Whereas people, that was with me fell off, but I kept on going because I just didn't stop working. I didn't know what was happening long term. I said, I know I want to play professional basketball. I didn't know how to get there. I had no agent, had no nothing. But in my mind, I had a goal and I knew if I kept on working hard, something's going to happen. And it literally, the opportunity came just before I was about to go into exams. An opportunity came up. I wrote my last exam and I was on the plane to Africa. So it's like, I don't know, the universe conspires to help you when you continue to just, push forward and trust the process and just keep your head up and, what the right path is. You just don't want to be on it sometimes. You're like, I'm just going to take this shortcut. And that shortcut, man, you get cut short because, you're looking for the easy way to the top. There's no easy. I talk to hundreds of kids in schools and lecture. Like I speak to university kids and I'm like, there's obstacles. And if you try to avoid those obstacles, you got to take this path. You might get to your destination, but once you get to your destination, you're ill-equipped to stay there because you don't know how to deal with adversity, sorry. And you don't know how to deal with obstacles. You don't know how to deal with exhaustion, fatigue, and all, because you took that shortcut that didn't have any of those obstacles. So I'd rather you take longer to get to the goal, going through those obstacles, because you keep learning. After every obstacle, after every, adverse situation, you build that strength, and you build that the resiliency in order for you, when you get to your goal, get to your destination, you say, that's just fatigue. Got that. Been there, done that. Oh, that's just stress. Got that. Been there, done that. And you're able to continue to stay at your destination rather than those persons who got hooked up, or someone says, yo, I got to know a shortcut. You get to the shortcut, you use it, get to your goal, and then it hits you. You're ill-equipped to stay there. So I'm all about trusting that process, going through the trenches, getting dirty, getting bumped and bruised. And like, I'm running my own company and people say, oh, you're so lucky. Oh my God. Like, being lucky, sorry, boss. I create these opportunities for myself by, by making sure that we are understanding the ability of hard work and disappointment. And I have this freedom now to set my own schedule because I took L's all along this road. I took so many L's. I don't have to advertise them. People around me know they're L's, but I don't see those L's as losses. I see those L's as lessons, and I just continue to collect lessons. So it's not a losing. It's just okay. I learned. I started different companies, took L's on them. Ah, okay. Don't do that no more. Do this. It's gonna help. So Capital Course is running, but there was other businesses that started and failed and succeeded, started and failed, succeeded. But all that intel was applied to this one. So this one is running because of all the failures, not because it's just been open the door and people run to the gym. No, it was not like that. It was like, oh shoot, I tried that didn't work. I've had clothing lines, I've had photography, I've done all kinds of craziness. But it was all, I took all that information and used it here where this looks like it's running like flawlessly. But believe me, I took major L's to keep this one going.
Is there anything you would like to offer the listeners?
If you can look in the mirror every day and say, I gave 100% effort in whatever I was involved in today. I gave 100% of myself to A or to B or to C. So if you're an employee and you showed up at work, if you left work and you went home and you looked in the mirror, did I give everything I had today to this company? Like, or did I save some? Did I half-ass it? Did I scroll the internet for 4 hours of my 8-hour shift? If you can honestly say, I gave everything I had to this job or to this relationship or to this, this organization or this movement, you're basically holding yourself accountable, because the more half-assed days you collect, that becomes a habit. And that starts to become detrimental over a course of your life. If you can say, you know what, I gave everything. I gave everything today. I gave everything to this interview. I gave everything to my staff. I gave everything to my wife. I gave everything to my coaches at the end of that day, I can sleep so peacefully. Oh my God. When you ask me if my heart, what's my heart like? And I say it's full, it's because I can look in the mirror and say, yesterday I gave 100%. Like yesterday, I drove back from Toronto after, Saturday night, I drove back from Toronto after driving there on Friday, played 2 games, got back, dropped all the girls home, got to my house at 9 o'clock. 9 o'clock, got home, sent all the emails back, ended up painting. I started painting and organizing the upstairs and the downstairs. Yesterday, I woke up and I started painting and organizing because we're doing a little bit of reno. I started at 9 o'clock and I went to bed at 1 a.m. And I didn't stop. My wife stopped. She said, my arm is sore. Because I'm a physical guy she does hair and she can't be messing with her elbows and stuff. So she had to plug out. But I went 100%. So when I laid down that night, I'm like, I gave everything to this damn paint job, right? I gave everything to that driving those girls. You can't half-ass anything because it becomes a habit. But it also becomes a habit of giving 100. So whenever I do something, it's 100, right? It's 100 because I'm not used to anything less. And if I see someone giving 75, I'm like, bro, you got 25 more. Like, what are you doing? Okay, coach. Okay, coach. Like, or, I got you, coach. Boss, I got you. Because they need to know sometimes or get reminded that there's more to give.
Mm-hmm.
Because when you go home, you're going to be so much more fulfilled knowing that you gave 100. So that would be my advice to the listeners is you and I both know what 100 feels like. Right? You know what your 100 is. You're a little bit injured now, but you can still give 100 to this interview or to organizing this, blah, blah. It's 100. It takes time, it takes effort. And if you can close this computer down and say, you know what, I gave 100 today at the end of your day, you're going to be so much happier for tomorrow. And that's my advice to everyone out there is just keep giving 100. Don't give 98 and save 2% for what? You don't get that 2% the next day. You only have 100 every day. You don't have 110 where you can give only, I give 90 and still have, no, that time is lost. You had that chance to give 100 and you didn't. Yeah. And so people keep saying, oh, you're so lucky. This person wants to connect with you. Oh, this person wants to speak to you, or that, this job came available. And I'm not looking for a job, but this job, hey, you want to be a coach of this? No, I'm already 100, man. Like, I'm good. So I'm able to give and pour out as a vessel of happiness. My cup is already full. Like I said earlier, I'm fulfilled. So I can just pour it out into someone else's cup who's only 75, right? Because mine is I have so much more to give. I can just keep pouring it out and I can keep pouring it out. So that'll be my thing, man. Just give 100. Don't just say, yeah, I'm going to do this. I want to be this down the road in the future. I'm going to be all this. But you're not used to giving 100. You're used to giving 75, 50 some days, 90 some days, 100 some days. That's a habit of mediocrity. Mm-hmm. And that becomes who you are. That's a mediocre woman. What? Don't call me no mediocre. I'm 100. I'm 100% go-getter, make things happen from time back in the days, right? And so that's become synonymous with who you are. And the last thing I would add is I'd ask people to ask themselves, what's your brand? Like Starbucks has a brand, Timmy's has a brand. It looks different when I walk into a room with a white cup with that green symbol on it than it does when I have a brown cup with Timmy's on it. It's just a different status symbol, right? Because one does a better job at marketing status and quality, and one's more convenience and Canadian and whatever. But a lot of people want that Starbucks cup in their hand because of what it stands for and that brand. What's your brand as a human being? What is Merrick synonymous with? Is it with mediocrity or excellence? Like, that's the difference. So you got to determine what your brand is early, because either someone's going to tell you what your brand is, and you're not going to be happy with that brand sometimes. So you got to create your own brand. And I think I was doing that from the jump. I didn't know what I was doing, but I created that pink tracksuit brand. Like, that's who I am. I'm a confident dude. I don't care what gender you want to put me in. I'm that guy. That's my brand. And people say, I like that brand. And so the university say, you know what? I like that brand. Let's recruit that kid. Let's give him a scholarship. Hey, I like that kid. Let's pay him to be a professional player, because they saw the brand. It was right there in front of your face. They would not tell me, yo, I want you to tone it down a little bit, or I want you to bring it up a little bit. They're happy with my brand. So everyone has a brand. It's just, what do you want people to remember about your brand? Like, when you leave the room, are you memorable? You know what I mean? So that would be my two messages is what's your brand, and give 100%. Don't save anything for tomorrow, because tomorrow's not guaranteed.
No, it's not. I want to thank you for being on the podcast and giving your 100 here and sharing such insightful information, and also sharing your own personal experiences so that it's relatable. for others so that they can see beyond what they see, the 100 of Merrick, that he is a human being also, that, understands this process. So thank you for being
No
on here.
worries. That's absolutely my pleasure. It was great.
Remember to be kind and gentle with yourself.
Always.
Thank you for making it to the end. I appreciate you and your time. If you found any value in this conversation, I ask you to help us grow by subscribing to the Lift Oneself podcast, and more, sharing it out to others. The more that we have conversation and dialogue that are honest and open, that is when we can remove the stigmas around mental health. Until next time, remember, be kind and gentle with yourself. You matter.